guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Toni and I'm a homeschooling mom to 4 kids. And I am so excited about this video today. First of all, because it's in a collaboration with a super awesome homeschool mom. Her name is Anna over at Just Makin It Work, and she is amazing. I don't know how she does it all. She's got 6 kids. They have a small hobby farm. She does everything she needs to do to just make it work. She talks about home management and all kinds of encouragement for mamas. She's awesome. So I am so excited to be collabing with her because we're both in different stages of life and we just have different perspectives. And anyway, she's awesome and she's thrifty. I love thrifty friends. You know that. Okay, so anyway, if you're new to my channel, you may not know that. I am a thrifty mom, but I also love homeschooling. So today's video is all about motherhood. When being a mom is hard. Being a mom is hard, isn't it? Whether you have 1 kid or whether you have 10 kids, being a mom is hard. So today I'm going to talk about the hard stages of motherhood, where I don't know if there really is an easy stage, but I'm going to talk about the stages that I've been through and what you can do to get through it. So if you want to find out what these hopefully helpful tips are to get through motherhood, then stay tuned. Okay, so the first thing, I have to share this because I think God just has an amazing sense of humor. Okay, Anna over at Just Makin It Work, we do Marco Polo back and forth to each other. We actually have become really good friends through YouTube, but we have a lot in common. We're doing a Marco Polo to each other. She was sharing this idea with me about doing this collaboration. The funny thing is, while she was sharing it, I could hear one of her kids in the background playing the piano. Now, she had recorded that already. If you know how Marco Polo works, it's just an app where you send videos back and forth, which is awesome for moms because actually getting on the phone and talking to someone when you have kids is almost impossible. So that is not a tip that I had planned, but check out Marco Polo because it's awesome because you can watch it back and forth when you have time and when your kids are outside. Anyway, as I was watching her video at my house, I had a kid playing the piano in the background too. So I could hear her kid playing the piano in the background of the video. My kid was playing the piano in the background of the video. And we're talking about making a video on how motherhood is hard. And it just made me laugh. I was like, it is. Like, it is full of distractions and noises and messes, but so many wonderful things too. But sometimes we get caught up in the hard stuff. And there's a lot of hard stuff. And it can be discouraging and it can be lonely. I'm going to talk today about how to get through these hard times. So there's 3 stages of motherhood that I have walked through so far. Some of you moms may be further ahead of me. My oldest is only 12, so we've only gotten so far. But I'm going to share with you about the stages that I've been through, and you may be in one of these stages and you may be struggling with one of the issues that comes with this stage. So stage number 1, the newborn stage. Okay, if you're a mom, whether you had your kid 2 weeks ago or whether your kid is, 35 years old, you went through the newborn stage. Okay, first of all, no sleep for mom. So there's no sleep for mom at all. Complete and utter exhaustion. So if you have had a newborn, you know how hard that is. And not only are you physically tired, that makes you emotionally tired and that makes you cranky and that makes everything just hard. Really, really hard. As wonderful and precious as it is to have your newborn baby, it is so tiring. My youngest will be 6 in August, and as much as I loved when there were babies and then toddlers and all these, the different stages we went through, I don't want to go back to having a newborn again. I'm glad we got through that stage, and there were amazing parts of it, but I don't wish to go back to that because it was hard. It was really hard, and I was so tired, and everything's new. There's a lot going on when you have a newborn baby. Another thing that is really, really hard is lumpy, leaky, unfamiliar bodies now after you've just given birth to this baby. So that can lead to low self-esteem. You may have been in amazing shape before you had that baby, and now things are different and things are, like I said, saggy and lumpy and leaky and stuff. And there's nothing you can do about it. That is really hard. And the low self-esteem can bounce off. You're tired and then you've got low self-esteem and all this stuff is just piling up. It's really, really hard. And then to top it off, you're an emotional roller coaster, right? You're a wreck because your emotions are up and down and up and down, and you're crying because the baby's so cute and you just can't handle that God has given you this sweet little baby. And then you're crying because your husband accidentally burnt the grilled cheese sandwich that he made for you. You cry about everything, and it's hard, and you don't know why you're crying, and then you cry because you don't know why you're crying, and it's a roller coaster, seriously. Okay, that's a lot. So you went from like super easy peasy life, you know, with you and your husband, and then all of a sudden you throw this baby in the mix and you're like, what is happening to me? It's hard, so hard. What do you do? How do you get through this stage? First of all, I'm gonna say we've got to get rid of the guilt, okay? Cuddle that baby. I know sometimes you feel like people will say, oh, you're gonna spoil the baby, and oh, you've got to put him down. Cuddle your baby. A cuddle with a baby is when you're sad or you're tired or whatever does wonders. The second thing to do is nap with the baby. And you've probably heard this before. I don't know if you've done it, because we feel guilty. We feel like, well, if I go nap with the baby right now while the baby's napping, then the dishes don't get done, or then, you know, the clothes don't get folded. Nap with the baby. Get yourself refreshed. If you don't take care of yourself, you're not gonna be able to get through it. Who cares about the dishes? Take that time and rest and nap with the baby. I will tell you, now this might be like, people might look down on me for this. I don't care. I napped like pretty much every day for, I'd say 6 or 7 years. And you're like, what? Okay. I napped when my oldest was a baby, and then I loved nap time. I thought it was great. And I was a stay-at-home mom, and I wasn't homeschooling. I had stuff to do, but I napped when she was a baby. Then I had another baby, and I napped when she was a baby. I had a baby every 2 years. I have 4 kids. And then my third daughter didn't like to nap without me. So she napped in my bed. So I napped with her, and it was an excuse to nap, and it was great. And guess what? I'm fine. I survived. You just can't worry about what anybody thinks. You can't let this guilt take over you. Nap with your kids, nap with the baby, get yourself refreshed. Now, I'm going to share with you 2 Bible verses. I am a born-again believer. I do think that the only way to really, truly get through motherhood is through Christ. And I understand that some people that watch this video may not be Christians. You may have different beliefs than me, but I'm going to share these Bible verses anyway. So, because that's what I think, the truth of the word is just amazing, and it's powerful. I don't know how people can get through motherhood, the hard times of motherhood, without the Bible. So the first one I'm going to share is 1 Samuel 1:27, which says, "For this child I prayed, and the Lord has granted the desires of my heart." Now, I know that there are babies that are surprises, and I know that maybe there's babies that it was in a time of life that you maybe weren't expecting it, but I also know that a good chunk of babies being born, especially in this circle that we're in here, you've prayed for that baby. Whether you prayed for this baby to come for years and years and then she finally comes, or whether you prayed and said, okay, we're ready to try for a baby, and you get pregnant right away. No matter what, if you're a believer, you probably prayed for that baby. And the Lord says, for this child I prayed, and the Lord has granted the desires of my heart, which means he's going to continue to grant the desires of your heart. So pray to the Lord. Love the gift that baby is, and you've really got to focus on that. Intentionally focus on that, rather than focusing on your unpleasant body image right now and your lack of sleep and your emotions that are all over the place. Focus on that gift of that little baby. The second verse that I want to share with you is Psalm 62:5, which says, "Yes, my soul find rest in God. My hope comes from him." And that is just amazing. And that's why I'm saying, I don't know how you get through this without the Lord. He's promising you right there that your soul is going to find rest. Not just, okay, you're going to get some sleep. No, your soul, your like innermost being is going to find rest in God alone. He is the one who's going to give you hope. My hope comes in him. Those are amazing truths, amazing promises. So hold on to those, write those down on a note card, put it next to the pack and play, or put it next to wherever your baby is sleeping. Put it on the glider that you spend all night in. You can get through this. Pray and rely on the Lord, and you can get through this. The second stage that we kind of go through, and that I have been through, was when you add that second child. So anybody that has more than one child, and this keeps adding on no matter how many children you have. What's up? Okay, that was my more than one child knocking on the door. Okay, so let's get back to this. So whether you have 2 kids or you have 10 kids, your attention is now forever going to be split. And that is hard. That's where that guilt comes in. I really think mom guilt is one of the hardest things about motherhood. I really, really think that. At least for me, it's such a major struggle. Every aspect of my life, I always feel like I have that mom guilt of not doing enough. So once you add that second child, this is what happened to me, okay? We had my oldest. My oldest was 2 years old. We had actually waited 4 years before we had any kids because my husband was going to college. And then we decided to start trying for babies, and I got pregnant and I had my oldest daughter. And then 2 years later, we both said we're ready to try for another baby. And we got pregnant right away, which was awesome. It was a blessing. But guess what? That day that we looked at that stick and saw that it was a positive pregnancy test, I was overjoyed. I was so excited. And you know what happened? Maybe 10 minutes after all that excitement, the mom guilt set in, which is like, what? The mom guilt? I never really, I don't think I'd ever really experienced this before, but I felt like, what am I doing to my oldest daughter? Her name's Sienna. And I was like, what am I doing to Sienna? She's not going to have that one-on-one time with me anymore. She's going to feel neglected. It was crazy. Let me know if it's normal or not, if you felt the same way when you had your second child. But I really felt like I'm taking away from her. This isn't fair to her to add this other child in. All of these crazy thoughts were going on in my head when I should have just been excited that I was having my second child. And then I prayed about it and I realized, okay, we're going to get through this. People have siblings all the time. People have multiple kids all the time. I'm not destroying her life by giving her a sibling. But right off the bat, that mom guilt was so heavy. It was a lot for me. And I cried. I will tell you, I did cry over that. And nothing against my second daughter. It's just that guilt of taking away from that one-on-one. It was just me and my daughter Sienna all the time. All it was me and her. So that adjustment was a lot, and it was really hard on me. If you have multiple kids, the guilt of feeling like you are not able to give enough attention, somebody always is going to get less. And that guilt is hard. So whether your kids, whether it's just you've got little ones and you feel like your attention is split, or now I feel this still now. I've got 4 kids and I feel like, my oldest needs a lot of attention with different things, that she's going through because she's getting older. The baby, he's not a baby anymore. He's 5, but he always needs help with something, and we went through potty training, all this stuff. I'm a middle child, so I get it. I feel like my 2 middle girls especially can easily get less of me because they don't need as much of me in the stage that we're in right now. Man, that mom guilt is hard. It's really hard. And I feel this a lot. And so I'm talking to myself here today too. I need these truths too, because it's a struggle, and I don't think my kids are sitting there thinking, Mom never pays attention to me. Because I really do try my hardest to give everybody attention, but you can't always do it. You know that. And then you add in, if you're a homeschool mom, you add in homeschooling. So you're stretched with that. I'm doing YouTube videos, so then I've got to fit that in. And then you're tired. I've got to cut the grass when I'm done doing this. There's always something that needs done. And so it's easy to feel like, oh, I'm not giving enough time to this kid. So you're stretched. You feel like you're trying to do too much, and you're always tired, like always tired. What to do? What can we do to get through this stage now? First thing, daddy dates. I didn't have a super close relationship with my dad growing up, and that was one thing I wanted for my girls until we had my son. It was always that thought of, I need my girls to have that close time with daddy, So when they were young, he started taking them out on daddy dates, and he would, whether he took them to go get ice cream, or it was usually something really small. It wasn't like he took them to a fancy restaurant or anything, just a little date. Take them to the car wash. You'd let them feel special. It could be anything. You don't even have to buy them anything. You just take them with you. If daddy's going to the store and he wants to take one of the kids, call it a daddy date. Let her get dressed up. I love it. I have these pictures of my girls when they went on daddy dates, And they felt like a princess. And they were so excited and they were so tiny. And that is such a special thing. Now also mom dates. Mommy needs dates too. So make that time for your kids, for you to take them out one-on-one. Now I know the more kids you have, the harder it is. Because it's hard for me having 4 kids. And I've talked to my husband about this before. Like, we need to get back into doing these dates again. If we've got 4 kids and we take 1 kid a week, then everybody gets to go out once a month. But that's a lot. It's totally worth it. I promise you it's worth it. One thing that I have done with my girls, let me show you the book, hold on. So when my oldest was in kindergarten, we did a curriculum called 5 in a Row, and we read this book, The Glorious Flight. And this is a really, really good book. You should read it. But we were doing 5 in a Row. You read the book every single day for a week, and you do all these different activities with it. So this takes place in France. And one of the activities was to get a French baguette and pretend like you're in like a French bistro and eat bread together. And I thought, well, that's fun. Now she was in kindergarten, okay? So she's 5, I think at the time. So I took her out, me and her, to Panera Bread. I'm cheap, so I don't usually eat at Panera because their food's pretty expensive. But the French baguettes, you can get a whole French baguette, and I got it sliced, and they gave us butter, and they gave us a couple knives and a plate, and we sat, and we usually shared a soda, and we talked. And the first time we did it, we pretended like we were in France, and we looked out the window, and we were talking. Oh my goodness, it was such a special memory. And you know what? It stuck, and every single birthday, I take each of my kids to Panera. We order a loaf of French bread, and we share a soda, and that's our thing. That is our time together, and I love it. And it doesn't cost that much. I mean, it's less than $10 with a drink and a loaf of bread. And yeah, it's not healthy, but who cares? We're pretending like we're in France. But it's just fun, and that was something that we have this connection that I know my daughter remembers this book, and I know she remembers reading it together, and we just have that memory. Make memories with them. Make up your own mommy date memory. Have daddy come up with the same thing. Sometimes doing the same thing all the time is fun too. You don't have to take them to, amusement parks and do all these amazing things. Little simple dates are enough, but they feel special and they get that one-on-one time. I promise it'll make a difference. Now, the other thing that's really easy and can be free, are movie nights. And that's something we try to do as a family. We don't do it every single week, but we do try to do it as a family. Just go watch whatever's on, a DVD that you have at home or whatever. Make a big bowl of popcorn. We do popcorn and candy, so we like to sprinkle candy in there. And we just sit down as a family and watch a movie. And I know that they remember that. They love it when mommy and daddy actually take the time to watch a movie with them. Even my oldest daughter, who's 12, loves it when we watch with them. So those are 3 really easy ways to make sure your kids are getting that time with you and you don't feel like you're not doing enough. And it doesn't take that much. So I'm going to share 2 verses with you here. We've got Matthew 11:28-30 says, "Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." There we've got that rest again. "Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am weak and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your soul." There we've got it again. Your soul is going to find rest. "For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." If you know what a yoke is, I didn't know what that was. You think of like an egg yolk. It's actually like on an ox. So they put this thing on the ox's shoulders, and that's what evens it out and helps him pull his load and pulls it evenly. And that's what he's talking about. He says, "Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am weak and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest in my soul." So there's other like little stages that we've been through, but the next big stage that I've been through up until now is that stage of kids growing up and not needing you as much. Out of the baby stage, you're in that like teen. My daughter's 12, so she's like that tween age, but I can see that how this is becoming where she doesn't need mom as much as she did when she was younger. And that's hard. And then, so the things that I think are the hard things in this stage, first of all, are regrets. Asking yourself, did I do enough? Was I present enough? Just in the last month, saying on my YouTube videos, I'm gonna have a 7th grader next year. It like hit this weird part in my heart that hurt. Like 7th grade is a lot. Not all my kids are in elementary or younger anymore. 7th grade is like, she can see high school. It's like on the horizon. And it makes you ask these questions like, did I do enough? Did I spend enough time with her? Did I do this? Did I give her enough individual time? I don't know. You're asking yourself all these questions, okay? And you have these regrets probably. There's always regrets in life, or at least you think there are regrets in life. Another thing that you're going to be dealing with is hormones, puberty, attitude, all kinds of changes. They're growing up as they get into their teen years. I always said, before we got pregnant, I do not want daughters because I was obnoxious as a teenager. I don't want any daughters. And you know what the Lord did? He gave me 3 girls before I had a boy. So that was kind of funny. I told you, God has a good sense of humor. I think we all know that teenage girls are a precious little group of girls. You're going to be dealing with all kinds of changes like that, and that is hard. The next thing is they're just needing to be more independent now. You don't get that cuddle time. You might get a little bit, a hug here and there, but you don't get like sit on your lap and read her a book when they're in their tween and teen age. Also, the communication. You can have communication issues. My daughter's one that she's not one that wants, when she's hurting or there's something going on with her, she doesn't just spill it all out. I have to like pry it out of her. She gets that from her dad. So if she was like me, she would just spill it all out. But so we have that communication issue when I can tell she's hurting just by looking at her, but it's hard to get it out of her. Those things are all hard. And then mom just being sad about your kids growing up too fast. Every mom says that when they show a picture of, or a birthday, like, oh, my kid just turned 15. And then everybody comments, oh my goodness, they're growing up so fast. It's hard, really, really hard. Okay, what can you do about this? The first, I think most important thing is keep those one-on-one dates. Make time, make it a priority, because if you miss that window and you let them be busy and you're busy and the next thing you know it, they're out of the house, I don't want that to happen. So I really, really want to make sure I keep that time, that mommy date time, the daddy date time, especially that now that she's a teenager, she needs to stay close with both of us and make sure we have that special time. You don't want to miss that window. Talk a lot. Make sure, help him or her be open. Let them be comfortable sharing things with you. I have made it very clear to my daughter she can talk to me about anything. And I want her to know that. Not all kids have that with their parents. A lot of kids feel awkward and they're going to go to their friends before they go to their moms. Now, it's a hard balance being mom and friend. You don't want to be like the best friend and has no rules. And you don't want to be the mom that's so harsh that your daughter's never going to talk to you or your son. So make sure you have that relationship, that open communication, so that she is willing to talk to you or he is willing to talk to you about anything, because you really, really want that. The other thing is ask for their input on things like homeschooling. If you homeschool, what do they want to study? This is the time. This is what I asked my daughter this year, like, what is something that you want to change? Or what is it that you want to study? And I found out she wanted to do science on her own. Mom would have kind of liked to have everybody together, but she's going to do her science completely on her own. She's growing up. I've got to give her that freedom. There were some other changes she wanted in our homeschool, and I put those in there. I let her be involved in the decision. So make sure your kids are involved in some of the decisions about things that you do, or, about little things like their room. If they want to rearrange their room in a different way, let them do it. Give them some freedom in some areas, so that you don't seem like you're, super strict and they don't, they think mom's this crazy person. Okay, here's the verses that we're going to apply right now. Deuteronomy 6:7. I love this verse. And thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and shalt talk to them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou riseth up. When are you teaching your kids? Diligently. Always. You are always teaching them. No matter what you're doing, make sure you continue to teach them. Now, this is a homeschool channel. If you homeschool your kids, you know that you're not just teaching them when you're sitting around the table. You're teaching them in every aspect of their life, and that's what this verse is talking about. If you don't homeschool your kids and your kids are in school, can you still teach them anytime you're with them? Yeah, you're teaching them all kinds of life skills, teaching them about God, teaching them about all the important things. This is an awesome verse. This is another one of those. All these verses I think need to be on a little card and put them up somewhere. The next verse I'm going to share is Proverbs 31:28. I love this. It's short and simple and to the point. And this is about the Proverbs 31 woman, which if you haven't studied her, you need to study her. But it says, her children arise up and call her blessed. Isn't that what we want? We want our children to see us as this mom to look up to, as this godly woman that loves her children and puts them first, but also takes care of herself. And it's just this well-rounded godly woman. That's what we want. I love that. Her children will rise up and call her blessed. So the goal with having children is to lead your children to Christ and to have a personal relationship with the Lord. That really is the goal. If your children have learned about God and have learned what's important and have accepted him as their savior, and they are saved and they have a real true relationship with the Lord, I think the Lord is going to say, well done, thou good and faithful servant. If you have Christ as the center of your family and your motives are pure, you will get through every single stage. You need the Bible. You need God's help, but you will get through it if you've got Christ as the center. I haven't even gotten to dating. I haven't gotten to college, moving out, getting married, having children of their own, things like that. Some of you moms may have already gotten through that stage, and you could give wisdom on that stage of life. I promise you there's Bible verses for every single stage. And if you apply those truths to your life, you can get through it. And have some of these practical things too that just, you're going to make sure these are priority in your life. You've got God as a priority in your life. You're going to get through these stages. Are you still going to cry? Probably. Is it still going to be hard? Yes, it is. But you're going to get through it. And that's really what we need. It's not easy, but through God, all things are possible. Matthew 19:26 says, but Jesus beheld them and said unto them, with men this is impossible, but with God all things are possible. That's the truth. So keep that in your heart and do your best and put God first, and make sure your kids see you putting God first as the center of your family. Well, friends, I really hope this was helpful for you. I know that motherhood is hard, and I hope that these things can be applied to your life, and you can just try to put some things into practice and make sure that you get through this, because you can get through this and you will get through this. So I just wanted to encourage you guys today. Make sure you check out Anna's video over at Just Making It Work, because I can't wait to hear what she has to share too, because she's been through even more stages than me because her kids are older too, and she loves the Lord. I guarantee these are going to be good, amazing tips for getting through the hard times of motherhood. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. That always encourages me. And make sure you subscribe if you haven't yet, so that you're notified every time one of my videos comes out. So thanks again for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.